I'm not gonna lie about the X100V. I've fallen in and out of love with this camera over the years. I've had the Leica Q twice, the second one also, and the Leica M10. And for some reason, this is the one that keeps coming back. This thing sits on my desk for a couple of months and I don't pick it up. And then I pick it up and I love it again. Something as small as an accessory can change my mind about how I shoot just with this one camera. So I'm not in love with the camera, but I do love it. And I just love whenever it decides to put itself back into my life. I photograph street photography, just family documentation stuff around my life, professional photos as well as weddings. And I think that it's something that can be used in a professional sense, but also be used just for documentation of your life. And you think about it, that's a very expensive camera, especially now that it's going for around $2,000. And at release date, when I got it, it was $1,400. So in 2025, would it be worth it to buy an X100V? Probably not. The X106 is almost the same price, right? But in this video, I'm just gonna go over my thoughts and to show you images that I've taken over the years and why I love this camera today just as much as I did on the day that I purchased it 5 years ago. One of the biggest parts about this camera that I love so much is the portability. My wife says the same thing. She can stick it in her purse, not even have to worry about it, and she can hand it off to people who don't typically know how to use a camera or aren't even like photography enthusiasts but still enjoy using the camera because it is retro designed, it looks cool, and it makes sense why it became so popular after somebody made a TikTok about it or something. I'm not really sure, but it does make sense. And I always thought to myself, why is this camera not more popular? Like from the X100, the X100S, the X100F, X100T, X100V, not in that order. But they're all fantastic cameras and they just get better. The X106 unfortunately wasn't a big enough jump from the X100V in my opinion to really make sense to purchase, although they're almost the same price now, so maybe it does. But I didn't get one because I just didn't need the IBIS or the 40 megapixels. In 2022, I wrote a blog saying that this was my island camera. I would definitely take this because it does have weather sealing, and that's something that you would probably need on a tropical island in my mind with the WCL, because I love the 28mm, I love the 35mm equivalent focal lengths that you can get for this actual camera. I usually use a WCL 90% of the times, and it's just a great lens. It reminds me so much of the Leica Q, and I don't have to bring the Q with me. I have the X100V, and the image quality is phenomenal on this camera. In my opinion, it's not as good as the Q. You're also not looking at a full frame camera with the $7,000 lens attached to it essentially, because the Summilux 28mm 1.4 is technically what you're kind of getting with the Leica Q. So that's really hard to beat. A lot of people compare them together, but they're not really comparable because they're just not the same. I mean, they're in different tax brackets essentially. I mean, one's very expensive, one's kind of expensive compared to that. So yes, island camera, 100% would take the X100V. And it's easy to carry around. It's lightweight. It's fun. It's a good camera. Love it, love it, love it. Next. The dials, the functionality, and the ergonomics of this camera are spectacular. Absolutely love them. I love the tactility of this camera. I've said it a million times. The clicks on it sound so great. The ISO dial is perfect. I'm so glad they decided to do that on these cameras where you just lift it up, spin it, and then get to your ISO that you need. Very nice touch for the X100V. The film simulations is something that a lot of people really care about, but truthfully, for the most part, I usually just shoot raw, although I'll have a film simulation on it just in case I see somebody that wants to see the photo that I've taken. I can show it to them and it looks processed. But when I get home, typically I will just edit the raw files because they are great files to edit with. I've actually been working on a preset that I think you're going to absolutely love. I'm going to put the link below. Feel free to buy it if you want to. It supports the channel, but it is really a good preset. I'll show you some of the images here. But the files to work with these cameras are great. They're a little green to begin with, but all I have to do is adjust the magenta a little bit, and then it fixes all those problems. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this preset. This is something that I've been working on for a little while now. The optical viewfinder and the EVF are huge for me. Recently I did a video where I only shot black and white images that I could not see the back of my screen. I only use the optical viewfinder with no playback. So you can essentially get a film-esque experience out of this. I know what you're thinking. Why don't you just shoot film? Because I don't fucking want to. That's why. Because I just don't want to. I know I can shoot film. I just don't want to. It takes too long. I don't want to deal with it. I like instant gratification. When I get home, I can throw them on my computer and look at them. That's why I don't shoot film, and I like the film-esque experience. It's just an experience. I don't need the rest of the bullshit. That's why I like it. And the optical viewfinder is great because, I mean, you can just rely solely on your exposure meter. And I think that that's something that a lot of people are forgotten. It's a forgotten art in a sense, and it definitely makes you a better photographer if you're using an OVF in a lot of situations because you understand your camera a lot better. And whenever you're using the EVF, obviously you can see everything that's going on, but you don't even really pay that much attention to your meter at that point. So I think it is a good thing to know how to use one, just in case you decide to go from this to a film camera. You'll know how to use a film camera a lot faster if you're using an optical viewfinder already. There's so many things you can do with accessories on this camera. They're everywhere out there. One of my favorite cases so far, I've actually done a video on. It actually covers the back of the screen, and then you can shoot with the optical viewfinder, no playback, and I mean, it feels like you're shooting a film camera. It's a challenge, but it's fun, and I absolutely love the amount of accessories that you can get for the X100V. You can get skins for this thing. I actually have one over here. Haven't used it. Should definitely put it on. Sorry, Dan. Thanks for it. Haven't used it though. The form factor of this camera, obviously, is probably the key factor of people being so drawn to it. It does look like an old film camera. I mean, it's a fashion accessory for some people, but for me, whenever I hand this camera off, it's just easy. The operation's simple. Just press that button and it takes a picture, you know, just like any camera, but it doesn't look intimidating. It looks like a semi-pro camera, like it is. The dials and the buttons and the layout, the tactility, everything's great. People always want to spend more time with this camera when I hand it to them to photograph me and my wife or whatever we're doing. So having it be very easy to use for other people is very nice. And the fact that you can switch everything to A really quickly is very nice too. So everything's automatic. If somebody does want to run around and shoot with it for a little while, I've handed it out at weddings, and I like getting those photos back too because they just kind of play with it. And you get some shots that I would never be able to get because I'm not that close to these people. So that definitely adds a very nice touch to the photos. A lot of people don't think about using the X100V as a video camera. It does have a micro HDMI cable where you could actually use a monitor on this. It doesn't have IBIS like the X106 does. However, there's a guy on YouTube that I found that makes the best videos just using this. Obviously, software has come a long way, and you can steady your footage a lot easier now than you would have been able to in 2020 when this was released. A lot of people are really hard on this camera due to the fact that it doesn't have IBIS. So they got exactly what they wanted with the X106. And if that's the camera that you need, this isn't the one for you. But if you watch this guy's videos, I believe it will change your mind, because it changed mine. It's a great camera for video and photo. It's not the best camera, that's a fact, for video, but it's good, and you can definitely get the job done. The camera that you have with you is the best camera, and a lot of people just have this camera because really that's all you need. And once you put yourself in a situation where you only have one thing, it really pushes you to be a lot more creative. I love this camera in 2025. To this day, 5 years later, it is great. If you have an X100V and you're still thinking about getting an X106, I personally cannot recommend that because you're not really gaining that much. If you don't have an X100V or an X106, I would probably go for the X106 because it's like the same freaking price almost now, which is crazy to think. Absolutely insane. I mean, if you can follow on the used marketplace, I'll definitely go X106 because it's going to hold its value more than the X100V. Those are my thoughts. Great camera overall, like 9 out of 10 stars. It's hard to beat this camera. It really is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at HunterHeartPhoto. And until next time, oh, you should probably subscribe to this channel as well. You know who you are. Appreciate you. Until next time, peace. Boom.